Marcus had a strange quirk. Every time we made love, he'd take an intimate photo of me. That night, he was particularly vigorous, coaxing me into taking a photo that was outrageously explicit. Afterward, I chided him, my face flushed. "What got into you today? You can't stop staring at one photo." Marcus didn't even look up, chuckling as he said, "Evelyn is returning home tomorrow. If all goes as planned, this will be the last one, so of course, I have to keep it as a good memento." My body stiffened abruptly, and I asked him blankly what he meant. Marcus, however, tilted his head in confusion. What else could it mean? "The goddess I've pursued for 7 years is returning home. Of course, I need to clean up my act and can't fool around with you anymore. Grace, we're practically best buds. It's totally normal to help each other out with our physiological needs. You didn't actually catch feelings for me, did you?" With that, he tossed the torn stockings onto my face. "Alright, stop looking so wounded, it's getting a little sickening. As friends, I'll keep your photos safe. And whenever Evelyn's not around, feel free to come back for a repeat performance." My heart felt as if it had been pierced by a sharp blade. It was then I realized, with a jolt, that Marcus had never loved me. I was just his female buddy. My body trembled uncontrollably, my palms grew cold, and I asked, eyes red-rimmed, "Marcus, you said I'm just your buddy? Did you really not like me at all these past 7 years? If you didn't like me, then why were you so possessive, never allowing any other man near me? And why did you cling to me day and night? Why did you coax me into taking photo after photo of intimate pictures?" I thought Marcus and I had an unspoken understanding, that we were already a couple. Marcus's impatient voice was his reply. "Grace, I thought you were different from those other clingy women. You're passionate and uninhibited, generous and easygoing. You even let me take hose photos, that's why I kept you around. You know how much I like Evelyn. What's with the betrayed act now? I'm not exactly cheap, and you weren't exactly deprived these past 7 years, were you?" It turns out, when a person is deeply heartbroken, tears simply won't fall. A profound sense of humiliation surged within me, and I let out a low, bitter laugh. Marcus and I grew up as childhood friends. I was introverted, but he had always been a troublemaker. Fearless of everything, he was gentle only with me. If someone bullied me, he'd go smash up their yard in the middle of the night. Gradually, I grew accustomed to his blatant favoritism. But then, when Marcus went to college, he fell in love at first sight with the campus beauty, Evelyn, and that favoritism vanished. He declared his feelings for Evelyn publicly, even buying a truckload of roses and having them delivered beneath her window. Even after multiple rejections, he refused to give up, so obsessed with her that he'd lose his appetite. The day Evelyn resolutely went abroad to study, Marcus knelt for 3 hours in public at the airport, but he couldn't convince her to stay. After that, Marcus was in a car accident due to his despondency and distraction. I saved him, giving him half my blood. And then, it was my meticulous care for him. Until that care led us to bed. When I woke up that day, I saw an empty pack of cigarettes beside Marcus. He said nothing, yet he shed his despondency and resumed his usual gentleness towards me. I thought he had finally let go. I thought he had accepted me. But only now do I understand that it was my wishful thinking all along. What one couldn't obtain in youth would forever be an obsession. Even after 7 years, Marcus still hadn't forgotten Evelyn, the one that got away. The moment she returned home, he was eager to sever ties with me. He even emphasized that I was just his female buddy. The tears I had been holding back finally streamed down. I clumsily pulled on my clothes, then turned and slapped Marcus hard. "Marcus, my 7 years of devotion were wasted. From now on, you chase your goddess, and don't ever bother me again." "Grace, are you insane?" Behind me, Marcus angrily tried to say something else, but I didn't want to see him anymore and stormed out. After a good cry at home, my emotions finally calmed down by late morning. I no longer hesitated and dialed my mother's phone number. "Mom, I've agreed to the arranged marriage with Daniel's family. You can discuss and set the wedding date, the sooner, the better. I bought a plane ticket to go abroad 7 days from now." However, the next second, the door was violently pushed open. Marcus's gloomy face appeared before me. "Grace, what arranged marriage?" I hung up the phone and calmly brushed him off with an excuse. Fortunately, Marcus didn't dwell on it, looking completely indifferent. I spoke with a cold expression. "Why are you at my mansion?" Marcus sprawled on the couch, legs crossed, in a lazy manner. "Well, I want to throw a welcome party for Evelyn. I remember she loves the ocean, and your beachfront mansion is perfect. Can I borrow it for a day?" Marcus finished, righteous, then nudged my elbow. We're buddies, right? You wouldn't refuse to help a pal pursue his goddess, would you? Buddies. Always buddies. Marcus mentioned it every other sentence. Was he trying to warn me not to have any inappropriate thoughts about him? Too bad, he was overthinking it. I was leaving soon. Fine, whatever you want. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him and turned to go upstairs. But behind me, a flicker of surprise crossed Marcus's eyes. The next day, I woke up to find the entire mansion filled with flowers, making it feel like a dreamland. Marcus said he planned to confess his feelings to Evelyn here today, so of course, he'd put a lot of effort into the decorations. But a thought came to mind, a romance should start with a bouquet of flowers. Back then, I thought Marcus and I were already boyfriend and girlfriend, so I hinted that I wanted some romantic gestures, like flowers. But had said, Grace, how old are you? We've slept together so many times. What do you need flowers for? Don't be so childish. Now, as I inhaled the pervasive floral scent, I finally understood. It wasn't that Marcus lacked a sense of romance, it was simply the difference between loving someone and not loving them. 2 hours later, the welcome party began. Our mutual friends, along with Evelyn, all arrived. After 7 years, her every gesture was still so elegant and graceful. Marcus's gaze seemed glued to her, as he ceaselessly sought topics to chat about. Finally, someone couldn't help but ask, confused, Marcus, weren't you and Grace already together? Marcus's expression changed, and he quickly snapped, what are you talking about? Grace and I have a purely platonic friendship, we're just best friends, alright? Don't spread rumors. Besides, I like girls like Evelyn, soft-skinned, fragrant, and delicate. Grace has a long, thick, centipede-like scar on her right hip. It's hideous. How could I possibly like her? My breath caught, and my nails dug into my palms. 5 years ago, Marcus got drunk missing Evelyn and ran into some thugs. In that critical moment, I stepped in front of Marcus, taking a knife for him. From then on, a deep scar remained on my right hip. At that time, Marcus's eyes were bloodshot as if about to weep, and he swore to the heavens that his life would be mine from then on. He promised to protect me for the rest of his life, never letting me suffer any grievance. But now, to distance himself from me in front of Evelyn, he publicly exposed my scar. Marcus, Grace is just a young woman, how can you speak about her like that? As the atmosphere grew somewhat tense, Evelyn spoke softly. Marcus immediately let out a tisk. Grace? What young woman? She's thick-skinned and tough, with a stronger psychological tolerance than a New York of us guys. Don't worry, Evelyn. We've known each other for so many years, don't I know her? Isn't that right, Grace? With that, Marcus, in a blind spot unseen by others, pinched the soft flesh of my inner thigh, signaling me to agree with him. Disgusted, I slapped his hand away and said coldly, Marcus, are you kidding? 7 years ago, you were thrown away like a dog, and now, the moment she returns, you're already eagerly fawning over her again. You so easily forgot how desperate you were back then. When it comes to psychological resilience, who can compare to you? At these words, the entire room fell silent. Marcus's face quickly darkened to charcoal, his knuckles cracking as he clenched his fists, then he snatched a wine bottle and smashed it on the floor. Grace! I glared back unflinchingly. Seeing this, everyone quickly tried to smooth things over, suggesting a game of truth or dare to divert attention. As if to get back at me, whenever Marcus drew a suggestive dare, he would always choose Evelyn. But if he drew truth, I would invariably be the subject. Who is the most hated person here? Of course, it's Grace. She's old enough to be married but can't find a husband, and she doesn't even have a single admirer. I thought she had a decent personality, but it turns out she might have a rage disorder. What if you married the person you hate most? I'd rather die than marry Grace. Even if I did, I'd go out partying every night, because facing someone you don't love all day long would be torture. After all these years, have you ever had a physical reaction to Grace? At this, Marcus's face showed an expression of insult. No, seriously, who came up with such a sickening question? What's the difference between Grace and a man? Forget a physical reaction, I'd find it disgusting just to touch her. I couldn't listen anymore. I smashed a wine bottle too, then excused myself to the restroom. Cold water splashed on my face, and I found that I wasn't and sad anymore. More than that, I felt disgusted. After a long period of calm, I pushed the door open and left. But as I passed the balcony, I overheard Marcus talking to another guy. Marcus, you went too far just now. After all, you've slept with Grace so many times. Do you really have no feelings for her at all? Marcus irritably lit a cigarette. How many times do I have to say it? I slept with Grace because, first, she's obedient and lets me do whatever I want. Second, she's free. Why wouldn't I take advantage? Get it? I truly only see her as a buddy, there's not an ounce of romance between us. My departing steps halted, and my already shattered heart was pierced again, riddled with holes. I already knew the truth, but hearing Marcus's brutal honesty still felt like being slowly flayed alive. Marcus. I suddenly spoke, walking towards the balcony. Marcus froze, clearly not expecting me to suddenly appear, and instinctively asked, You heard all that? I didn't reply. Seeing the atmosphere grow increasingly strange, the guy next to him quickly found an excuse to leave. Finally, Marcus was the first to break the silence. He snuffed out his cigarette with a smirk and walked towards me. What's wrong? Are you mad? Honestly, there's no need, Grace. What I just said was the truth. What happens in bed, well, that's always consensual. If you didn't agree, I couldn't force you. Alright, stop looking so distraught, you're making it seem like I bullied you. With that, he cupped my chin, actually making to kiss me. I reacted instinctively, pushing him away, then slapped him hard. Don't touch me. You disgust me. Marcus was about to get angry, but he froze when he saw my red-rimmed eyes. Marcus, yes, I admit it, I like you. But that doesn't give you the right to casually trample on my genuine feelings. I'm not some outlet for your whims, to be used and discarded. If you didn't like me, you could have just said so. Grace, am not one to cling. From now on, I wish you and Evelyn a happy family and many children. And please, never bother me again. With that, I turned and walked away without looking back. In the living room, Evelyn's delighted laughter, surrounded by others, floated in. But seemed not to hear it, simply staring blankly at my retreating back. For some reason, he felt a pang of panic. As if something very, very important was slipping away. However, Marcus ultimately didn't overthink it. He scoffed, then walked towards Evelyn. He knew Grace's personality. In a few days, she'd come begging for his forgiveness. After the welcome party, I called cleaners to tidy up the messy mansion. That night, I sank exhaustedly into the sofa, when Evelyn suddenly sent me a message and a video. Grace, it looks like Marcus got drunk. I opened the video and saw Marcus, bare-chested and hazy with drunkenness, murmuring Evelyn's name, begging her, over and over, not to leave. I instinctively gripped my phone, but a moment later, I directly deleted Evelyn from my contacts. Anyway, they'd just be irrelevant people from now on. However, I never imagined that. When I woke up the next day, I found my intimate photos had been posted online. #Eris's intimate exposed, so in private? All those photos Marcus had personally taken were now brazenly exposed for everyone to see. My social media post was instantly flooded with vulgar comments and messages. Countless strangers messaged me, asking about my rates. My vision went black, blood rushed to my head, and I nearly collapsed to the floor. How could this happen? Absolutely only Marcus had seen those photos. He had vowed and guaranteed back then that he would absolutely protect my privacy. He had coaxed and pleaded with me for a month before I agreed to take them. Why were they posted online now? Hot-headed, I ignored everything, slammed on the gas, and sped to Marcus's mansion. But the one who opened the door was Evelyn, dressed only in pajamas. Seeing me, her expression was very strange, looking as if she had something to say but held back. Grace, while personal preferences should be respected, you're really too, well, after all, you're Marcus's friend, you should at least pay some attention to your reputation. Evelyn's feigned innocence left me speechless with anger, just as Marcus walked over. I immediately yelled at him, Marcus, what exactly is going on with those photos? Didn't you promise me you'd never leak them? Marcus paused, stunned. Huh? What photos? Grace, what are you going crazy about so early in the morning? Seeing him still playing dumb even now, I grew even more furious and showed him the trending topic. Marcus's eyes widened instantly. How is this possible? Those photos, Before he could finish, Evelyn suddenly dropped and broke a water glass. Her face was filled with hurt and disbelief. What do you mean? Marcus, you took Grace's photos? What exactly is your relationship with Grace? Marcus immediately pushed me out of his mind, anxiously grasping her hand and reassuring her. How could that be? I have absolutely nothing to do with Grace. These photos are all hers, taken because of her own indecency. Don't be mad, Evelyn. Evelyn looked suspicious. Really? Of course, it's true. Grace is inherently wild and has always been very promiscuous, which is why I hate being associated with her. Evelyn, my heart only belongs to you. In the 7 years you were gone, I didn't even look for another girlfriend. Doesn't that prove my feelings for you? Evelyn's expression softened then, but I stood frozen as if struck by lightning. Indecent? Taken by herself? Inherently wild? I never imagined such words would come from Marcus's mouth. My eyes instantly welled up, and I stared intently at him. Marcus, do you dare say that again? Were those photos truly taken by me, by myself? Marcus, of course, didn't dare. He guiltily looked away, speaking in a chiding tone. Enough, Grace, stop clinging. It's real. Why getting tiresome? Tiresome? I staggered back several steps, then let out a bitter laugh, like a madwoman, grabbing Marcus by his collar, demanding he admit it. Amidst the pushing and pulling, Evelyn suddenly shrieked and fell to the floor. Grace, why did you push me? When did I push? Before I could finish, a stinging pain suddenly erupted on my face. It was Marcus, he had slapped me. Enough. Grace, will you ever stop? I froze. Marcus, who had hit me, also froze. No, Grace, I didn't mean to. Marcus instinctively started to explain, but then suddenly stopped. Because he saw me rip off the pendant I'd worn around my neck for 10 years and violently throw it to the ground. It was a birthday gift he had given me. I had worn it day and night, treasured it immensely, never taking it off. But now, the pendant lay shattered in two. Marcus, I'm tired. Let's just end it. With that, I turned and left. The expression on my face was one of unprecedented exhaustion. I could faintly hear Evelyn asking Marcus if he should go after me. Marcus said there was no need. This was all her own doing. Before long, she'd come back to apologize on her own. Don't waste time on someone insignificant. But was wrong. This time I wouldn't be coming back. After I got home, my parents called. They asked about the photos online, so I truthfully told them about my 7 years with Marcus. My father, furious, immediately wanted to rush to the Chi family to demand an explanation, but I stopped him. Sweetie, don't be afraid. Your mom and dad will handle everything online. Don't go anywhere for the next few days, just rest at home. Your mom and dad will pick you up tomorrow morning to go abroad. My nose tingled with emotion, and tears fell. That night, I developed a high fever. When I woke up, I saw several missed calls from Marcus, and his message, Grace, hitting you today was certainly wrong of me, but you also pushed Evelyn first. And those things I said, it was because Evelyn was there, and I was afraid she'd misunderstand, so I had no choice but to say them. Of course, I know you're not like that. We've been buddies for so many years, I know what kind of person you are. I looked at the word buddies and started laughing through my tears. To hell with being buddies. Marcus, I don't want you anymore. I pulled out my phone's SIM card and broke it. Dragging my suitcase, I boarded a flight to go abroad. The next day, Marcus stared at the empty message box, his brows furrowed. He didn't even hear Evelyn call his name. Why was he feeling so uneasy for no apparent reason? What was Grace doing? At this hour, was she still asleep? He couldn't resist sending me another message. Just then, Evelyn raised her voice slightly. Marcus, I said I'd be your girlfriend. Why aren't you reacting? Marcus snapped out of it, but before he could feel joy, he saw, I had blocked him. Marcus's hand trembled, and a sudden surge of irrational anger flared in his heart. For 7 years, between him and Grace, when had he not been the one to call the shots? Although occasionally threw a tantrum, a few casual reassurances from him were always enough for her to reconcile. Forget blocking him, she'd never even raised her voice. Though he had been distant with her lately because of Evelyn, he had already apologized. Yet, Grace not only didn't appreciate it but dared to block him. Marcus had finally heard his dream goddess accept his pursuit, but at this moment, he couldn't feel happy no matter what. His strongest urge was to go find Grace and make her apologize to him properly, just like before. Thinking this, Marcus did exactly that. Evelyn, wait for me for a moment. I have something to take care of. He left Evelyn, who had an expectant look on her face, completely oblivious to the shock in her eyes. Stop. Hearing slightly urgent voice, Marcus was a little confused. What is it, Evelyn? I really have something urgent to deal with right now. Aren't you usually the most gentle, considerate, and understanding? Evelyn's face turned ashen. She knew Marcus liked her image as an unattainable beauty best, so she deliberately maintained that persona. If it weren't to make Marcus unforgettable to her, to leave an indelible mark in his heart, she wouldn't have chosen to go abroad. This time, she had returned with the intention of definitely winning Marcus over. But she never expected that when Marcus finally accepted her, he would react so indifferently. It was as if his past love for her had all been an act. Nothing, just wanted to remind you to be quick. I booked a restaurant for dinner. Evelyn forced a strained smile, and Marcus nodded, then impatiently turned to leave. At this moment, he cared nothing for dinner, rushing to my mansion as fast as he could. However, to his dismay, the mansion was empty, there was no sign of me at all. He tried contacting me through many other platforms, only to find that all his contact methods had been blocked by me. Even my phone number was out of service. All these signs amplified Marcus's inner unease. Just then, Leo suddenly called him. Mr. Chi, what you asked me to investigate has been confirmed. Ms. Grace's photos were indeed uploaded online through your phone. The upload time was 9 p.m. on June 14th. June 14th? Wasn't that the day of Evelyn's welcome party? At 9 p.m., he was already thoroughly drunk. It was Evelyn who brought him home. How could he possibly have had the energy to upload photos? Wait, Marcus suddenly paused. That meant, at that time, the only person who had access to his phone was Evelyn. And the password to his private photo album had always been Evelyn's birthday. She knew it. With a thunderous crash, Marcus's mind went blank for a moment, feeling as though something he had always firmly believed in had shattered. The next second, Leo on the phone continued, Mr. Chi, just now, the He family announced the news of an arranged marriage with the Liu family. Mr. Liu even specifically sent you an engagement invitation. What do you think, should I book you a flight? An arranged marriage? Marcus instantly gripped his phone tightly, veins bulging on his arm, and said in a raised voice, where did you get that rumor? Grace was just in my bed a few days ago. How long has it been? How could she possibly be getting into an arranged marriage with someone else? Besides, she's always been madly in love with me, stuck with me for 7 years without any status. How could she possibly be willing to marry someone else? Hearing's furious roar, Leo paused, then hesitantly spoke. It's official news released by the He family. It can't be false. Besides, Mr. Chi, didn't you say Ms. Grace was just your buddy? How could she be in love with you? My apologies, Mr. Chi, I spoke out of turn. Leo dared not say more, but Marcus's angry expression froze on his face. That's right, he clearly only saw Grace as a buddy. So who Grace married, what did it have to do with him? Why was he so agitated? Marcus kept chanting calm down to himself, but as soon as he imagined me in a wedding dress for another man, or playfully snuggling into another man's arms, an unexplainable rage shot straight to his head. Anger, jealousy, fury, all these negative emotions made him clench his jaw so hard he almost ground his teeth. Damn it! Grace won't marry anyone else without my permission. Book the next flight, no, take my private jet directly. I need to see Grace now. With that, Marcus was about to leave. But then, Evelyn called him. Marcus hung up without thinking. Grace was about to become someone else's wife. How could he possibly have the mind to flirt with anyone else? However, Evelyn wouldn't give up, her calls kept coming. Finally, he answered impatiently, speaking in an unfriendly tone. Are you annoying me? Didn't I tell you I had something important to do? Why do you keep calling? Evelyn paused, stunned by his impatient tone. Marcus, why was he suddenly so harsh with her? Marcus, what exactly do you mean? I heard you're going abroad to find Grace. Why? Didn't you say she was just your buddy, and you had no romantic feelings for her? Then why are you so nervous about her getting married? Marcus, I'm so scared you'll abandon me. Don't go looking for her, please stay with me, alright? Evelyn spoke as softly as she could. But this time, Marcus didn't try to coax her as she expected. His tone grew even more impatient. Evelyn, do you have any idea about priorities? How can you throw a tantrum at a time like this? If really marries someone else, what will I do? Stop bothering me, or I'll block you. Marcus? You'd block me for Grace? On the other end of the phone, Evelyn's face suddenly turned ghostly pale, and she even swayed precariously. She violently smashed a vase, angrily demanding, Marcus, what do you mean, what will I do? You're so tense right now, could it be that you've fallen in love with Grace? At these words, Marcus froze. Had he fallen in love with Grace? Marcus's mind uncontrollably replayed the memories of Grace and him over the past 7 years. Actually, Grace wasn't thick-skinned at all, her skin was very soft and smooth. Otherwise, having known so many women, he wouldn't have been so addicted to her. Whenever nestled into his arms, he always found her incredibly adorable, even feeling an impulse to protect her for life. Anne's personality wasn't at all like that of a spoiled heiress, she was gentle, considerate, and knew all his preferences. Whatever he liked, no matter how rare, Grace would find it for him. He most vividly remembered his fondness for a rare collectible. He'd only mentioned it casually, yet Grace traveled all the way abroad, persistently negotiating for 3 days to buy it for him. At the time, he had complained about not seeing Grace for 3 days, but Grace wasn't angry at all. The moment she smiled and handed him the collectible, he even felt it would be worth dying for her. But precisely because Grace was too good, it led him to believe that no matter how far he went, Grace would never leave him. Evelyn, to him, was something unattainable from his youth, the one that got away, an obsession. To say how much he truly liked Evelyn was debatable. After all, they hadn't seen each other for 7 years, even the deepest affection should have faded. He merely wanted to fulfill a youthful dream, nothing more. He never intended to completely lose Grace. And he absolutely couldn't lose Grace. Taking a deep breath, Marcus said softly yet firmly, "Yes, I've fallen in love with Grace." He loved her bright and proud demeanor, her gentle and considerate nature, her fragile and adorable expressions. He loved all of her. He had been wrong before, he had hurt Grace. But they shouldn't, and absolutely couldn't, end like this. After all, Grace loved him so much too. So he had to go abroad, to apologize properly to Grace, to bring Grace back. "Marcus!" Over the phone, Evelyn let out a hysterical shriek, even shouting Marcus's name until her voice cracked. Gone was all her former poise. "Marcus, are you insane? The person you love should be me, only me. What kind of spell has that wretch Grace cast on you?" Marcus's gaze turned a few shades colder. "Evelyn, shut up. Grace is not someone you get to insult. Don't think I don't know it was you who secretly used my phone to expose Grace's photos that night. Once I bring Grace back, I'll deal with you properly." With that, Marcus decisively hung up the phone. Turning, he boarded a flight to go abroad. "Grace, wait for me. France." I tried my best to ignore the burning gaze fixed on me, but it was so intense that I couldn't help but speak. "Mr. Liu, is there something on my face? Why do you keep staring at me?" Daniel chuckled. "My apologies, Ms. He. You're just too adorable." I couldn't help but stare. I was speechless, failing to understand why Daniel, the heir to the esteemed Liu and a wealthy scion among scions, had to act as if he'd never seen a woman before. It seemed I didn't know him before. "Oh, sweetie, Daniel is so warm and enthusiastic towards you, it's wonderful. You two are getting married soon, so it's good to nurture your feelings before the wedding." My mother's eyes crinkled with a smile, and she subtly nudged me towards Daniel. In fact, she left shortly after, to give Daniel and me some private space. The atmosphere grew silent for a moment. I cleared my throat. "Mr. Liu, you know how things are in our circles. Let's not talk about vague things like feelings. Naturally, interests come first. After we marry, I won't interfere with your personal life. As long as you don't overtly bring women home, I won't mind. And of course, the same applies to you, you can't meddle with my privacy. What I can guarantee is that the cooperation between the Liu and He families will never change." I thought what I said was concise and clear-cut, and Daniel should be quite satisfied. But his face suddenly paled, and he showed a hint of a wronged expression. "Ms. He, in your heart, is our marriage truly so unbearable? I'm supposed to be your lawfully wedded, no, your legitimate husband. How can we just go our separate ways?" I froze for a moment, then eyed him suspiciously. "We didn't know each other before, and there are no feelings involved. Are you seriously going to pretend otherwise? Aren't arranged marriages among wealthy families always like this? He really is strange." Daniel paused, and the wronged expression on his handsome face, comparable to that of a top celebrity, intensified. "Ms. He, for this marriage, I've waited a full 7 years. What?" Before I could finish, the mansion's front door was suddenly pushed open with force. A gloomy and urgent voice echoed, "Grace, you're not allowed to marry him." "Marcus?" I raised an eyebrow in surprise. At this time, shouldn't he be fawning over Evelyn? What did it mean for him to chase me all the way to France? Marcus, eyes red-rimmed, paused when he saw Daniel, a clear flicker of jealousy in his gaze. "He's your arranged marriage partner? Don't be ridiculous. You've only met a few times, and you're already talking about marriage?" "Grace, I'm the one who understands you best in this world, and the one who loves you most. You'll only be happy if you marry me. Come on, let's go back home, and we can slowly talk about us." I thought Marcus might, probably be insane. Love or not love, when had such a thing ever existed between him and me? Forcefully pulling away from Marcus's hand, I said, my voice full of impatience, "How useless is the He family's security now, letting just anyone in? Marcus, you're the one being absurd. My arranged marriage was decided by both our family's elders and cannot be changed. What do you mean by coming to me now with such inexplicable words?" Marcus paused, as if making a firm decision, and said resolutely, Grace, I'm sorry. I apologize for the pain I caused you in the past. I truly believed I only felt fraternal affection for you, and that Evelyn was the one I loved. But when I heard you were going to marry someone else, I was driven mad with jealousy. It was in that moment I realized you were the one I had loved all along. Evelyn was nothing more than an obsession. Grace, you can punish me however you like, but I beg you, forgive me, and come back with me. I promise I'll make it up to you, and we'll be together properly. After passionately said these words, he looked into my eyes expectantly. I was somewhat stunned and didn't respond immediately. Had just confessed his love? Perhaps so, since he said he loved me. But this phrase, which I had yearned for 7 years, now stirred no ripples in my heart. The who would grieve and feel pain for Marcus had long since died. Once I let go of everything from the past, looking back, I only felt it wasn't worth it. I felt he was nothing special after all. I even wondered why I had been so foolish back then. For 7 years, he never even said I like you. How could I not have noticed Marcus's evasiveness? But I had simply been deceiving myself. I couldn't bear the sunk cost of my efforts, nor was I willing for this relationship to fizzle out. So I kept telling myself that Marcus was sincere, that he just didn't know how to express himself. But it wasn't until I personally witnessed his favoritism towards Evelyn that I couldn't even deceive myself anymore. True love should be passionate and grand, something you want to declare to the whole world. Silence merely means there is no love. Marcus, no one will wait for you forever. Under his hopeful gaze, I spoke softly, just as I had every time I gently comforted him in the past, but the words I uttered sent a chill down his spine. I don't love you anymore. In fact, I detest you. Please stop bothering me. My wedding is in a month. We're like brothers, you're welcome to attend. Chapter 9 Brothers. What a wonderful way to put it, brothers. I watched Marcus freeze as if struck by lightning, all color suddenly draining from his face. The 2 words he had constantly used to warn me in the past now pierced his heart like a sharp blade. It gave him a metallic taste in his throat, and he almost coughed up a mouthful of blood. No, that's not it. Grace, we're not brothers, we're lovers. I love you, and I'm the one you love most. We're not some damn brothers. I truly know I was wrong. I was worse than an animal before, but now I genuinely love you, Grace. I truly can't live without you. Please, I'm begging you, come back with me, okay? Marcus was utterly humbled, a stark contrast to his former arrogant self. But watching him desperately deny our brotherly relationship, I only found it laughable. Just a few days ago, I was the one who collapsed in despair over those 2 words. Now, how the tables have turned, and it was his turn. Some people truly are ridiculous. They only learn to cherish what they have when they've lost it. If you don't leave, I'll call security. Marcus still wanted to say something, but Daniel, who had been watching for a long time, stepped in front of me. Miss doesn't welcome you, Marcus. It's pointless to keep bothering her. Who do you think you are? This is between Grace and me, it's none of your business. The jealousy in Marcus's eyes almost overflowed. For so many years, he had never allowed any men around me. Back then, he only claimed it was for my safety, but in reality, it was just because he was jealous, extremely jealous. Daniel's face showed no sign of offense or anger. Instead, with the demeanor of a rightful partner, he said, My apologies, Marcus, but I am Mrs. Fiancé. I naturally have the right to intervene. Jealousy, regret, collapse. All kinds of emotions appeared on Marcus's face simultaneously, and I watched with relish. In the end, I called security to drag Marcus out. But he refused to give up and continued to harass me in the following days. Every day, he would send me gifts in different ways, as if trying to compensate for the 7 years of regret. Especially flowers. He spent a fortune reserving all the flower shops in town and built a giant castle of fresh flowers to propose to me. But I simply said lightly, it's too much of an eyesore. Have it taken down. That day, I saw despair on Marcus's face. It couldn't be helped. Some people always measure the depth of their love by the pain of loss. After that, Marcus didn't appear before me again. I heard he went abroad, and the first thing he did was have Evelyn sent to prison on charges of leaking and intentionally spreading others' private information. Evelyn's most prized academic achievements were completely ruined just like that. I saw Marcus again at my wedding. He did come after all. Just when I thought he was going to object to the marriage, he grandly knelt before me. Grace, I'm sorry, I was a jerk. I know saying I'm sorry isn't nearly enough to make up for the pain I caused you, but please believe that I truly did love you, and have always loved you. I know I'm no longer worthy of you, but I sincerely hope you find happiness. Grace, I won't bother you again. Marcus looked at me one last time, then turned and left. His arrival didn't cause any stir. Later, on my wedding night, I asked Daniel, "So, why exactly do you love me?" Daniel told me a story. Just like in the most cliché romance novels, while the hero and heroine are entangled in a tumultuous love affair, there's always a devoted second male lead who silently watches over the heroine. During all those years I pursued Marcus, Daniel had been gazing at my retreating back. On a beautiful, ordinary afternoon, he fell in love with me at first sight. From then on, his 7 years of waiting began. Good thing reality isn't a novel, and the heroine ended up with the second male lead, Daniel said with exaggerated flair, making me chuckle. I knew my life was just beginning. Thank you for watching today's story. If you liked this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.